Hey guys, what's up? It's Harley and I'm here today with my January wrap up. And I ended up reading 11 books last month. That was pretty good. I'm pleased with that. A lot of them were audiobooks. I don't know why I said that so weird, but audiobooks. I did read a couple physical books, but I don't know. I think I was still feeling a little slumpy from last year. So we're going to get into it and we're going to discuss all the books I read. So the first book that I read was an audiobook, surprise, surprise, and it was called She Tempts the Duke by Lorraine Heath. Yeah, I did a lot of Lorraine Heath this month. The book is basically about these three lords. Can they all three be lords? I don't know. But whatever, these three guys, and they're in line for like the lordship, whatever. And their uncle wants it for himself. So he kills their father, plans on killing the three of them, but has them locked up in a tower or something. And with some help from the girl next door, they escape. And they're gone for like 10 plus years. Well, they come back to this ball or whatever and come in being like, oh, I'm the lord of whatever it was. And so basically that's it. They're back to take the lordship away from their uncle who has claimed it in their absence. And the girl, I believe she was supposed to be getting married to some other guy, but obviously her true love comes back and she's like, no, I gotta have him. But that's basically what the book is about. I enjoyed it. I did feel like it went kind of fast. Like at times I wanted more from it. Like more pining for sure. At one point they kissed and I wasn't even sure if it was really happening or if it was a dream, but apparently it was happening. My doggy's down here. Apparently it was happening and things just went flying after that, and I was just like, can we settle down a little bit? It wasn't like the pace of the book felt weird, it was just how we got from like point A to point B felt really quick, and like there was stuff missing in between. And to be honest, I forgot that the uncle was like lurking around till the very end. And I was like, oh, that's right. He's here. He's here. But anyways, I ended up giving that 3.75 stars. Like, I liked it, but I wanted more from it. So, yeah. The next book I read was To Beguile a Beast by Elizabeth Hoyt. And this is also part of a series. It's like the third one in the series. I only read this one. This one got some Beauty and the Beast vibes going on, which I thought were immaculate. They were so good. So good. Like, let me see if I remember what happens. So basically you have this girl, she's on the run with her two children from, I think, another like lord or whatever. He's the father of her children, but she's like the mistress, and she's trying to get away from him. He's threatened to be like, oh, I can take the kids whenever I want. You don't even care about them, but I can take them whenever I want. Somebody's playing in the curtains. Well, anyways, he is always threatening that he can just take the kids whenever he wants. He doesn't care about them. So she's like, I'm getting out of here. I'm taking them. We are leaving. We're going to change our... I don't think they actually changed their names. They just changed, like, the last name. And she kind of gets lined up with this job of being a housekeeper for this grumpy ass dude. He don't even know that she's coming because like nosy neighbor or somewhat friend, I'm not sure if they're neighbors or what, but she's the one that set this whole up. She's like, oh, you know what, he needs somebody to like spark something in him, and I think you're it, so I'm gonna send you there. You're gonna be the housekeeper. Would have been nice to inform him of this, but they show up in the middle of the night. It's like dark, pouring rain, and they come upon this like castle manor, whatever, and the vibes were vibing. And he opens the door and it's just like, who the hell are you? And she's like, I'm your new maid. He's like, I don't have a new maid. I don't have any maid. I prefer to be alone, because he is scarred from the war, and so people, judge him from that. But he is kind and lets them stay at least a night, because he's like, oh, it's dark, it's raining, not sending you and the kids out there. And the next morning he's like, all right, get going. He sends them on their way, but as they're going through town, she's like, you know what, no, I'm coming back. I'm gonna be his damn maid, whether he likes it or not. I don't care. we are staying in this damn place. So she comes back. She's in the kitchen trying to cook because she's never cooked a day in her life. And he hears the kids and he's just like, what is going on? And he comes down and he's like, why are you all here? Didn't I kick you out? Well, she's very persistent. She's like, I'm not going anywhere. I am staying here. My kids are staying here. I don't care whether you like it or not. You need help. So he begrudgingly lets them stay. And he ends up like falling for the kids. You know, he falls for her too, but he like falls for the kids first, really. Like he thinks she's attractive, but them damn kids wheedled their way into his heart. And he had a dog, and he loved the dog so much, and the kids loved the dog. And then he started falling in love with her, and then they just had some really good moments, and I just really loved it. And like I said, the Beauty and the Beast vibes were vibing strong. Like I said, like he was acting all beastly grumpy, I don't want you here, and she was just being like Belle's stubborn ass, being like, no, we're doing this. So I love that book. I gave that book 5 stars. It was so good. So good. The next book I read was my physical book that I started back in November. I did finish it. I promised I was going to finish it, and I did. And that is Kiss the Sky by Krista and Becca Ritchie. This is the first book in the Calloway Sisters series, and it follows Rose and Connor. I mean, really it follows all of them, but like they're the main POVs in this one. So I did start it in November, and I only finished it in January. I was in that slumpy period. It was a little bit of a struggle getting through. Not because of the book itself. Like, it did take a little while getting into Connor and Rose when I was so used to Lily and Lo. But I don't think it was because of that. I think it was just my slumpy period. Because I would read it and I would enjoy it. I just didn't feel the urge to, like, pick it back up, read all the time. I just was feeling some type of way. But this follows them as they're trying to rebuild her family's, like, reputation because of things that happened with Lily in the first 3 books of her series, the Addicted series. I believe it was first 3. But yeah, this follows them as Rose comes up with a plan to try to get some like good press for them. Her fashion line is like kind of dying off too because of the scandal and everything. And so she comes up with this idea. We're going to be on a reality show. We're going to have our own reality show. They're going to follow us and see what we're really like, and hopefully that'll garner some good press for us. So they're all living in like a house together, and you can probably hear Daisy drinking now because she's over there. Oh, dogs. But anyways, they all live in a house together and they're being filmed, and there's one dirty weasel who does not fit, who should not be in the house being filmed. And his name is Scott, and I hate him so much. He's like the producer or something of the show. And I don't know, he has some weird fixation on Rose, and just like, ugh, he's so gross. But he's pretending to be her ex-boyfriend who has a heart of gold, and she should pick him over Connor. And I hated him so much. And he's a dirty weasel, as you can tell throughout the whole book. But at the end, I hate him, and I want him to get what's coming to him, and I hope at some point we get a mention of that, because I hate him. But anyways, I'm really glad to have finished this now, and I can continue on in what I'm supposed to read next. I think I'm supposed to go to Hot House Flower, but I'll have to look into that. But yeah, love this book. I did give it 4.25 stars because I was slumpy, you know. So I don't know if that was me or part of the book. I think it was mostly me. Then I went back to audiobooks once again, and I did do another Lorraine Heath book. This time it was a different series all. I read the majority of the Scandalous Gentleman of St. James series. I think I ended up reading 4 books, and then I know there's a 4.5, and then there's a 5th one that's newer. I don't know how long between like book 4 and book 5 this one came out, because it has like the new kind of cover vibe that her books have lately. But I'm going to finish the whole series eventually. But I did do the first 4 books. So this was the first one. It was called When the Duke Was Wicked, and it is about this girl. She's always had a crush on this guy. since she was a child. I think she was like 7 or something. There is like an age gap between them. I think it's like 5 years. Is it more than 5 years? 7 years? I think it might be 9. Is it 9? Do you like how I just keep changing the date? Okay. Well, she's like 19 and I think he's 28. So that's 9. So yeah, so it's like a 9-year age gap. So she met him as a child. He was like a, just teenage area, like 14, 15, 16, somewhere there. But she's always had this crush on him. He's like become some kind of a family friend to them. He ended up getting married when he was like 19, 20 or something, and was very happily in love with his wife, had a child. They ended up dying from some kind of disease, and he was absolutely heartbroken. He gave up like on love, decided he was going to do every bad thing that he never did, because what point of being good and following the rules and everything did that get him? He lost the love of his life and his child. So he's like, I'm gonna give in to all the bad behaviors I never did before, because what's the point in life? Well, I forget how many years had been passed. I think it was just 2 years had passed since his wife died. But she comes up to him. I don't remember if she wanted him to help her with something, like finding a husband or something. I don't know. But she, she still likes him. She still wants him. And obviously they end up falling in love. He's very adamant about how he can't love anyone, which is just one of the things I hate that trope. The, like, I loved, I lost, I can never love again. And then they always like, they always meet somebody and they're like, I have some type of feeling towards them, but it's not love. It can't be love. But like, I want them and nobody else can have them. And they need to be around me all the time. But I don't love them. But I can't live without them. I hate that. It bothers me so much. So this one was the lowest rated out of all of them, but I did enjoy the two of them together. Like, I thought they were very fun and everything, but I just hate that damn trope so much. And also she has, it's not a disability. She, you find out, was sick at some point, and he didn't realize that because he was too in his grief to realize that she had been sick. But she was sick at one point and she wants to do good things with that, being like, I want to help others who have some kind of illness or disability or whatever, and I want to make them feel loved and everything. And like, she was like making like a little children's book or something with a little bunny, and it was cute. It was cute. I did enjoy this book. I just think it was the least favorite of the series for me. Like, I could have loved it more if he wasn't so, what was me, I can't love. But I ended up giving that one 3.75. So once again, 3.75, it's almost a 4. It's pretty good. But I went on to the next book in the series after that, and that one I loved. It was so good. It was so good. So the next book in the series was Once More My Darling Rogue, and this one was just so good, as I just said. But it is like a overboard retelling where she loses her memory in an accident, so you gotta spend the book figuring out like what happened to her. She doesn't remember who she is. Of course, the man who hates her finds her and brings her back to his house because he's like, I can't leave her on the street. And he realizes that she doesn't remember anything, and he decides, he's gonna have just a little bit of fun with her, just a little bit. He's going to humble her and have her be his servant for the day, and then he will tell her who she is and take her back to her family. So he takes her back to his house. He's having her be his maid, and she's just like, I don't remember any of this. Like, what am I doing? I don't know how to do anything. I don't know how to cook. I don't know how to clean. This doesn't feel right. I feel like I should not be doing this stuff. Like, I remember books and balls, and he's like, no, you're my maid. Well, he ends up finding out that, like, her disappearance might have been a little suspicious, and he's suspicious of, like, her brother. There's things involved with her uncle. He doesn't know what's happened to her, so he is like, well, I'm gonna keep up the charade just a little bit longer, just to make sure there's no nefarious things going on, you know? Like, he doesn't want to, like, send her back and then have her, like, killed or something. So he keeps her around, sends off word, trying to figure out what happened, where she was supposed to be going, and keeps up the charade for a little bit longer. And as he does that, he starts falling for this new version of her that he's never seen before. She's always been, like, super stuck up and thought she was, like, too good for him, at least in his mind. And he likes this other side of her. She's revealing things to him about, like, you know, she wants to open, like, an animal sanctuary. She has this thing about animals. She brought in, like, 3 different animals while she was living with him. But he likes this softer side of her and has started to fall for her. But, of course, you know, obviously she's going to find out who she is, find out that he knew the whole time, and, you know, like, things go downhill. But I really enjoyed them. I really enjoyed their bickering, their back and forth. It was really good. And I just thought that they were really fun together, and I was obsessed with this book. So, yeah. I gave Once More My Darling Rogue 5 stars because it was so good. And then that kind of carried on for the rest of the series. Like, the rest of the series was, like, really good. But we will get to that in a minute because I had a book or two, at least one, in between. So the next book that I read was an ebook, and it is called 3 Schemes and a Scandal by Maya Rodale. This is, like, book 3.5 in the Writing Girl series, which I read at the end of last year. And kind of like the series I just talked about, like, the first book was okay, but the rest were, like, really good. That was like this with this series. This one was just okay. Because, I mean, it was a novella. So I feel like if I had gotten to know the guy, James, I believe his name was, if I had gotten to know him in the story, I think I would have liked it a little better. We got to meet Charlotte in the Writing Girls series itself. So I was familiar with her and what she does, like, obviously 3 Schemes and a Scandal. She schemes a lot. She's always trying to, like, match people up. She can't mind her own business. But him, I didn't really know him, and it took a while for me to, like, understand him and see if I liked him or not. The beginning felt really slow. I did really like them towards the end, but just getting there took a while, and I feel like I might have got there faster if I'd known him prior to this little story. But yeah, so this one is about her ex-friend, James, and they end up falling in love. So yeah. So I ended up giving that one 3.5 stars because, like I said, I did like it. It just took a while to get into it. Okay, then I went back to that other series. This is the 3rd book in the Scandalous Men of St. James or something. Scandalous Gentlemen of St. James. I was close. This is book 3, and it is called, I always forget, The Duke and the Lady in Red. I have my iPad here so to reference. Yes, The Duke and the Lady in Red. I really ended up enjoying this one. It did take a bit to get to. Like, the first half of the book, I wasn't sure about it. I kind of thought about DNFing it. I was just like, I'm not vibing. I was intrigued by Rosalind. She has a bit of, like, a con thing going on. She's in town looking for her mark. She needs some money, and so she's at the gambling club that the guy from the previous book owns. And she meets Avondale, the Lord of Avondale. And I wasn't sure about him for a good chunk of this book. Like, I don't know, he just was not appealing to me at all. The thing that was keeping me going was Rosalind and her con. I wanted to know about that. It took a while to, like, really reveal that. But once we got there, I was obsessed with this book. Like, obsessed. Avondale, he went from 0 to hero. 0 to hero, I'm telling you. I did not care about this man for the first half of the book. All of a sudden, something happened, and I was like, oh my god, this man, he loves her so much. Oh my god, like, look at him. Yeah, no, if the whole book had been like this, it would have been 5 stars. But it wasn't. There was a slow first half, and I feel like if things had been revealed a little sooner, I would have got attached more and, like, carried on. But yeah, so the first half was slow, but the second half, so good. I was so obsessed. I was so emotionally invested in it. Like, it was so good. But I gave this one 4.25 stars because, like I said, I really liked it. But like, my heart wanted to give it a 5, but I was like, that first half, no, we gotta deduct for that first half. So I felt like 4.25 was good. Then I read the 4th book in that series. Well, I listened to it. but it is called An Affair with a Notorious Heiress. Blanked on that last word. An Affair with a Notorious Heiress. So this one we follow Tilly. She's our notorious heiress. She had a scandalous divorce. You know, you're not supposed to get divorced back then. But she wanted out of her marriage so bad that she staged a public kiss with the footman so her husband would divorce her. And everyone thinks, you know, she's just like a little trollop, just ruined her marriage. She's having an affair with the footman. Oh my god. But anyways, it's been like, I feel like it's been a couple years since that happened. But her sister is now trying to find a husband, and it's proving to be a little bit of a challenge because of her reputation. Nobody wants to give the sister a chance because they're like, oh, another American? Probably just like her sister. So her uncle approaches this Lord Rexton and makes a deal with him. If he will be seen courting his niece, he will let him breed with his prize stallion. And he really, really wants the progeny of that stallion and his mare. So he's like, okay, I can do it. I can be seen with her. All right. So he goes to meet with her at her house and runs into her sister and is immediately taken with her. Like, oh, once again, the vibes were vibing. Them two, like, their chemistry on fire. Even her sister knew it. Her sister was like, this man is not here for me. This man is here for you. But I will let him think that I believe he's courting me because I want you two to fall in love. Like, it started off kind of Anthony from Bridgerton, his book and season vibes with the, you know, like, I'm courting your sister, but really I like you. But it quickly dissolved from that because, you know, sister already knew. She knew this man had no interest in her at all, but she was trying to play matchmaker with them. And yeah, so that's basically what it was about. He is like so in love with her, but she is afraid of ruining his reputation. And she's like, no, you need like a proper duchess. I think it's a duchess. I don't know. You need to marry somebody, you know, proper, or you can't marry me. But, you know, they find a way, and I really, really liked it. I thought their chemistry was so good. I gave that one a 4.5 because I really did like it. I feel like there was something that, like, made me not give it 5, but I don't know. Yeah, 4.5. Then the next book I read was Bloodlines by Rochelle Mead. This was my buddy read with Victoria, and I really enjoyed this. It's been quite a few years since I reread this. Like, I think it says that I've reread this 4 times. I feel like it was more than 4 times. I think it was before I even joined, like, Goodreads or anything. But, yeah, so I've read this quite a few times. But it's been a while since I've actually reread it. But I loved being back with them so much. So this is the spin-off series to Vampire Academy. And it follows some of the characters from that series. Mainly we have Sydney. She is an alchemist. And she got into some trouble at the end of Vampire Academy. And this is like her kind of like sort of like a redemption, but not really. She don't need redeemed. She does not need redeemed. But in the eyes of the alchemist, she needs redeemed. So she gets assigned to go and stay with some vampires from the other series that need protection. She's an alchemist. They are, I want to say assigned. They're not really assigned, but they are there to make sure humans don't learn about vampires. So they need to hide a special vampire in a human boarding school. And so she is there to assist, to help out in any way that she can, make sure nobody finds out about her, keep her safe. And obviously, you know, things happen once they're there. I really love the characters in this book. Like, I really love Sydney. Adrian was my #1 book boyfriend, but he did get demoted to #2. But I still love him a lot. Like, I love Adrian so much. So it was really nice being back with these characters and kind of refreshing myself on what happens. I'm excited to continue on with the series as long as the TBR jar decides, or we decide to add an additional book to the month. Who knows what will happen. But I gave this one 5 stars. Same as every time I've read it. 5 stars. So the next book I read was Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarros. I did a little reread of this because, as everybody and their mother knows, Onyx Storm came out in January. And I haven't read it yet because I was reading a lot of other things. So I decided to pick up the audiobooks. I'm doing the graphic audios because I don't really need to pay attention to these. I know it happens. So it's just like a little refresher course in my brain. But basically, we are following a girl named Violet in this book, and she is going in to this war college to become a dragon rider, sort of against her will. She was not intending on doing this. Her mother kind of signed her up for it, but she is getting thrown into this war college. She is very frail and like at a disadvantage compared to everybody else, but it's really nice to see her like overcome that and develop skills to keep her alive. She's very good with poisons, girl. Yeah, I really love this book so much. It was such a good time listening to this, even though I did cry once again, because if you know, you know. If you don't, you don't, but you should know, but you shouldn't know because it might hurt. It'll hurt you. But I really love this book. I love the characters. I love the dragons. Oh my goodness. The dynamic between Violet and her dragons. Oh my god. But yeah, I really love this book. It's so good. I gave it 5 stars once again, obviously. And the last book that I ended up reading was Spectacular by Stephanie Garber. This is like a little novella. Obviously, it says novella right there. But this is like a little Christmas novella, and I intended on reading it during December, and I did not get to it. So I was like, well, let's snatch it up. It's really thin, so. But yeah, this one follows the characters from Caraval. We got Scarlet and Tella, and then their boys. But mainly, I would say this follows Tella, and I feel some type of way about her. I don't hate her, but I don't love her. I'm obsessed with Scarlet. If Scarlet was in this more, I would have loved this so much. But it is very heavily Tella. So basically, Tella needs to find Legend a gift for the great holiday, and that's basically the whole plot of this book, is her just trying to find a gift for him. So we see Scarlet and Julian like a little tiny itty bitty bit, a lot of itty bitty bits, and it just was not enough for me to really enjoy this. I ended up giving this one 2.5 stars because just Tella, I just like the setting. I love the Caraval world itself. That's great. It's just Tella. There's something about her that just disassociates with me. But this book is really pretty. Like, look at the end papers. Look at the cover. That's beautiful. I did really enjoy like the illustrations. Where's like a illustrations? The illustrations were great. Loved that. But the story was not it for me. So yeah, so I gave this one 2.5 stars. So these are the books I read, plus all them audiobooks and an ebook. And it was a decent reading month, honestly. Oh look, I still got a bookmark in here. Oh, it's not even a bookmark, it's just a piece of paper. I don't know where any of my bookmarks are, honestly. But yeah, these are the books I read. I think it was a pretty decent reading month. I did read quite a few 5 stars, yeah. Because like 5 stars, 5 stars. 2 of the audiobooks were 5 stars, so that's 4 5 stars. That's 4 or 5 stars in a month. I don't know the exact totals, but I think it was a pretty good reading month. But yeah, so we'll see what happens next month. I did read Powerless. I did start it. I think I'm still feeling a little slumpy, like physically, but I am reading this. That'll be continued on in February. There was another book I did not get to, and I'm disappointed in myself. I'll be honest. But otherwise, I read quite a lot, so I'm happy. I'm happy with what I read. I think it was a good time. But anyways, these are the books I read in January. I hope you guys had a good reading month Hope you read some good books, some 5 stars. Let's start off the month strong. The year strong. Let's start off the year strong, okay? But yeah, so I will see you guys in my next video. Bye, guys.